So at tonight's book club, we are discussing Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. This edition was given to me by my friend Saskia. She went to Canada, so she got the US cover, and it has the sprayed edges, which is so cute. And yeah, I'm absolutely obsessed with this cover. The one I have is this one that is actually like a bright yellow version of it, and I think it's really cute. I do really like it, but something about seeing the octopus Marcellus, and then presumably that will be Tova, in that kind of thing, like in that kind of way, it just really, I don't know, speaks to me more than the other cover. It's like matte, it's got the foiled text. It also says that there's a reading group guide in the back, so I want to have a little read of this today and just kind of think about it in terms of the discussion, because there are some discussion questions in the back, but I've already made my own. But yeah, I've been kind of intrigued as to why she wrote the book or where her inspiration came from, and I think I will find that in the back here. So that's really cool. I'm gonna have a read of that. As for my own discussion questions, this is my book club bag. This is like the only bag I have that is big enough to take all the stuff I need for book club. I have come up with some discussion questions. So I've separated it into like a general discussion and like a deeper discussion. So I'm going to share this with you in case you're interested. So in case you couldn't make it to the book club, I'll give you a little bit of an insight to the things we've discussed. So the thing I'm doing with my book club is I feel like I want people to expand their reading comfort zone, so read genres that they don't generally read. So my first question is this your usual genre? If so, yes. If no, why not? And what kind of feelings or thoughts or assumptions or apprehensions everyone may have had before reading the book, whether that's based on the cover or based on the premise of the book or just it being a little bit outside of their comfort zone. And I also want to know how those thoughts and feelings may have changed after reading the book. So if people were surprised by it, if people didn't like it and they kind of figured they wouldn't like it, and that kind of thing. And then it's more stuff like, did you like the writing style? What did you like about it, or what didn't you like? Did you enjoy the setting? Did you like the characters? Was there anything you liked in particular or didn't like about the characters? Did your opinions of the characters change through the course of reading the book? Because definitely for me it did. And if any minor characters stood out to you. I know there was one that stood out to me. I also want to know at what point people figured out what the octopus Marcellus was trying to tell Tova. This was my first time annotating a copy of a book, and I'm really glad I now have another not annotated copy. I actually wrote somewhere in the book. So for me, it actually took me quite a while to figure it out. It was on page 209 where I wrote, it was at this point I realised the thing I realised. Although I didn't necessarily figure the entire thing out at that point, I just had like a big realisation. So yeah, and I have sort of annotated the book as I go. So as I went, because I'm not really familiar with annotating, I just put some sticky notes in and I tried to come up with some questions that I kind of had as I read. So this book is about an octopus who is in captivity, so I'm interested to know what people's thoughts and feelings were on animals in captivity, whether that's zoos or aquariums, prior to reading the book, and how that may have changed afterwards, if at all. Marcellus, the octopus, is also incredibly intelligent, and he speaks to the lack of intelligence of other creatures like the sharks. So I'm curious to know if people's feelings on captivity change or vary based on the intelligence of the animal. I think that's quite an interesting discussion to have. But I know these are kind of deeper, less book related questions, so that's why I've separated them out from the discussion. So some of the kind of deeper questions I've asked, other than the captivity ones, is also that Marcellus sees himself as a prisoner of this aquarium. Do you agree with this? And do you think that Tova and Cameron, two of our other characters, are also in some ways prisoners to their own lives or to their own behaviour? Because I think to a degree they both are. And I feel like the story is very wholesome and very heartwarming, but it does have some more emotional topics and thought-provoking things throughout. So I want to know if everyone felt like it was really wholesome or if there was some kind of underlying emotion that anyone took from it. And I also want to know if people think that Marcellus, Tova and Cameron share any similarities or how they differ, and also if anyone sees themselves in Marcellus, Cameron and Tova, or as a combination of the three. So that is kind of my, yeah, that's my, it looks crazy, it looks like a lot, but that is the kind of vibe of the discussion. So as well as the discussion, I also like to do something else a bit fun, and it also gets people talking and kind of working as a team on something, because not everyone knows each other and it can be quite daunting. So I do a little quiz. This is similar to what we did at the first one. So I basically get a ton of books, I think there's 12 here, and I get rid of the title and author. So it is basically, can you name this book or the author based on the cover alone? And it is quite difficult. I think the more, like, I obviously know this one, but this really you get nothing from, like, that is it. So I think it can be quite difficult, but it is fun because everyone kind of follows different books or has a different kind of depth with basically you're either on booktok and bookstagram or you're not, and I feel like you'll know some books if you are and you won't if you're not, but equally a lot of them are books that you would just see on the shelf in Waterstones, so if you frequent Waterstones you'll see them. And yeah, and it's also interesting because books have so many cover variants that you might know it and then not know this one. So yeah, it's a bit of fun, and there's a prize for the winner, of course. So the other things I need to figure out are some kind of icebreaker prompts to have on the table, but I don't really know the best way to do it. I don't actually have a printer at home and I'm not at work today, so I have no way of printing anything out. So I might just have to write them out on scraps of paper and put them in a little pot on everyone's table or something. I do have, what else do I have? What else are we taking to book club? We do have some more new members, which is really exciting. So I do have a few leftover goodie bags from last time. In case you're wondering what was in them, we have a Bird and Blend tea bag, which is just an English breakfast tea, which is my favourite. We have a, upside down, a Chapters and Chai bookmark. We have the business card, which kind of doubles as a membership card, so you can pop your name on the back. And some biscuits. These are like some of my favourite biscuits, and they're nice because they're individually packaged. And who doesn't love a cup of tea and a biscuit when they're reading a book? And a bookmark obviously is an essential. Last time Saskia and I spent all morning making friendship bracelets sitting on my living room floor, which is what I am doing now. I do not have it in me to make any more friendship bracelets, so unfortunately if you were not at the first meetup, you are not getting a friendship bracelet. That was hell, but I think Saskia would agree, and she wasn't even making them. I think she did 3, and then I ended up doing the rest, and she stamped all the bags, which equally was a pretty difficult job. You wouldn't think it, but it really was. So that was soul destroying in the end. So yeah, I do have some leftover, sorry, that was a post and that confused me. So I do have some left. Are you done? I do have some leftover tea bags and biscuits, so I will be handing those out to the new people, and I'm really excited that we have new people. In a way, I'm sad that not everyone from the first time could make it, because it's always nice to see familiar faces, but it would be really nice to see some new people, and maybe eventually we can expand our numbers of like seats that we can accommodate, so yeah. Okay, excuse the state of my background. I'm moving and I just have stuff everywhere. That's my Mothman Build-A-Bear. I think I'm just gonna take these scraps of paper left over from last month's book club and write some icebreaker prompts. So I kind of need, because not everyone knows each other. I mean, I also have these little sticky notes, but I don't think they are kind of the same. No, we'll do paper. So I think I'm just basically gonna write, sorry, it's really dark in this corner as well, my window's over there. I think I'm just gonna write some questions on a bit of paper and then have them in a little bowl on the table and people can discuss. It can be quite daunting trying to kind of start a conversation and keep it going with people you don't know. I am bad at that, so yeah, I think this will just be easier. I'm packing up my bag, which is my Daunt Books tote. I thought I would share with you what goes into my bag for book club. I think I underestimated how much stuff I take, and that is genuinely the only tote bag that will fit all of it. So I have 3 of these left, so they are currently in my bag. And then I have some loose bookmarks, tea bags, a few biscuits left, and business cards, if I've not already said that. The next thing that is new for this time, because we actually have a book to discuss and review, is the review leaflets that I have made. They're not really leaflets, they're quite thick. But yeah, the review cards that I had made so people can write little mini book reviews. And I also always bring a stack of leaflets with me as well. I will obviously be bringing a copy of the book with me. It's always nice to just have it and have it for pictures, for social media and whatever. And then I have our discussion questions for the book that I spent all day writing yesterday, and a little book quiz. So also just spent about an hour handwriting some icebreakers. These are just going to be in little paper cups on the table, so if people are struggling to make conversation or yeah, don't really know what to say, then I have some book themed conversation starters. What else do I have? That might actually be it this time. I also have some little sticky name tags, because I don't know about you, but I am terrible with names and faces, so I think it's just nice if people have their names visible to everyone. Yeah, I think that is everything that's in my bag. I don't think there's anything else I'm taking. I always take blank bits of paper as well, because sometimes I set up, I say always, this is my second book club, but I will always be taking some blank paper to write some prompts in the middle, and then people can move around and kind of add to the bit of paper. So it's stuff like, what is a book that you would really like to read in book club, or what social events would you like to do, and stuff like that, and that kind of helps me out and also gets people moving around. So yeah, that is everything that is in my bag for book club, and I should probably pack it and go and get myself ready.